Okay, let's get it rocking and rolling, man. A big interview over on GameSpot questioning some of the biggest developers like the lead dungeon designer and game director for Diablo 4 on rethinking dungeon design, grinding, and gear upgrades coming into the first season. They spoke about how the first season is going to change things up from a gameplay perspective with a tighter gameplay loop in regards to rewards and dungeon crawling with their new malignant system. Remember that elite enemies now have a chance of appearing as malignant monsters in Season 1, which are supercharged version of elite enemies. They can pop up in public events, normal dungeons, or nightmare dungeons, but they will most likely be encountered in a brand new set of dungeons called Malignant Tunnels. The game's lead dungeon director, Michelle Pena, intended to change the pace of gameplay, focusing on mob killing and earning loot that you actually want. This focus also comes with a quicker cadence in dungeon crawling by having smaller, more concentrated spaces inside of a dungeon, and she also states that the kill the monsters objective, some people didn't like it, and she totally understands why. Because you had a lot of backtracking to do. You had to go and kill that monster all the way in the beginning of the dungeon. It was really annoying. To fix this problem, they stated that giving players a small space to have a couple of objectives where they could just go wild is going to be their goal, because they want players to get rewards faster and they don't want to get in the way of that. My favorite part about this whole interview is probably the fact that they state one of the biggest core issues of Diablo, which is a crazy amount of RNG involved in rolling one single item. Part of making the new looped grind system work is that they're putting more control in the player's hands for what rewards they get instead of relying on RNG. After you complete a malignant tunnel, at the very end, there will be a malignant outgrowth. You can then activate this with an item you can craft called an invoker. This will then lead to a very big boss battle, and the type of caged heart rewarded to you depends on what type of invoker you used that you crafted, which will determine one of the 4 caged heart types you can get. Now listen, I'm going to be honest, I think there are some great things spoken in this interview that are definitely going to help with the gameplay loop overall when you're trying to get those caged hearts in the brand new system. Smaller spaces with more dense mob packs for players to just go nuts and kill everything, and also reducing the RNG aspects. I mean, that's kind of what we're looking for. Overall, that's definitely a step in the right direction, in my opinion, and I thought this was amazing news to share with the community. And speaking of amazing things to share with you all, a quick word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by the Wonder AI app, which turns your words into digital art, and with the Wonder, the possibilities are truly endless. Download and try the app with a free trial using my link. Now, whether you're a blogger, an influencer, or just someone who likes to be creative, this app makes it incredibly easy to turn what you want into amazing digital art. All you need to do is enter a prompt, select an art style, and sit back and watch as Wonder brings your ideas to life in seconds. For example, I want creative art of Inarius from Diablo 4 in hell fighting demons. And bam, in a matter of seconds, we have it created, and I can save it directly on my phone to do whatever I want with it. How about a Diablo 4 themed rogue holding up 2 daggers wearing a dark mask in a hyper-realistic format? Boom! Wonder can even make that happen too. My favorite aspect is I can even discover artworks that are the best in the community right now, and I can screenshot the pictures and use them however I'd like to give myself a limitless selection to choose from. I've been using this app constantly over the last few weeks to give me high-resolution images to use for my Diablo 4 thumbnails, and it's been helping me tremendously on the channel. Whether you need to bring an idea to life, create some amazing artwork, or even if you're struggling to get inspiration, you could truly create one-of-a-kind amazing art in a matter of seconds with this app. Download and try the app with a free trial using my link to get a free premium version of Wonder, which brings you no ads, faster art generation, unlimited art, and 50% off on your own AI avatar. Alright, we just got some big help from that developer interview as well as our sponsor today, but you know what else could use some help? The Sorcerer class. That's right, because a player that's played over 330 hours playing the Sorcerer, not even counting all the beta testing, definitely has some opinions to say about the current state of the class. He states that the Sorcerers were always supposed to be a glass cannon type of class, but the Sorcerers have the lowest defense and some of the lowest raw damage numbers in the game, that applying vulnerability is probably the hardest in the game for the Sorcerer class, and the only way they could do it is by using Frost Nova and Ice Shards. And this is probably what causes people to play Ice Shards so much. Because if you're playing a build without consistent vulnerability, you're missing out on a huge damage bucket that you're desperately going to need in the end game. He also states that the Paragon boards are very underwhelming, and the same goes for uniques for the Sorcerer class, with the only one being usable being the Raiment of the Infinite. To be honest though, with this specific point, it can be made for every single class out there that uniques are very underwhelming for everybody because legendary aspects just dominate everyone's builds and everyone prefers using legendary aspects over everything. I'd honestly say if any two classes could definitely use the most work, it's going to be the Druid and the Sorcerer class. The Sorcerer in particular, though, has a major lack of build diversity. As you can see from our perfect Diablo 4 starter pack for the Sorcerer, the build diversity is usually going to include 3 or 4 defensive abilities, as well as always using the Firebolt enchantment, because all of this is just way too powerful to pass up on. It's just way too strong for your Sorcerer build. By the way, don't even get me started when it comes to the Sorcerer cosmetics, because I think it's not even close. This class has by far the worst cosmetics in the game, and I don't even think it's an argument. I mean, look how terrible this looks on the screen right now. And then if you want to compare it to something absolutely incredible, go ahead and look at the Barbarian or Necromancer cosmetics. Necromancer has got to be one of the coolest characters I've seen so far in Diablo 4, and they're really just an amazing theme that fits inside the game. It looks like this character just belongs in the Diablo 4 world, and it's just absolutely epic. So honestly, I think Sorcerers needs a lot of work from head to toe other than the early game. Now, I'd say when it comes to the entire basis of Diablo 4, I will have to admit and agree with a lot of the community out there. I think the developers generally played it rather safe when it comes to the end game and adding any sort of additional features into the game that we've never seen before. And no, I don't mean quality of life features like the Codex of Power. I mean some real endgame gameplay features like maybe 2v2 arena or 5v5 objective-based battlegrounds for PvP, 10-man boss instance raids with some really cool, interesting mechanics to group up with, all of your friends with, similar to how Lost Ark did it, guild features, and just generally things that can make this game feel more like a community, especially since they made it an online game only. Now, personally, when I heard that the game was going to have over 120 different dungeons, I thought they were for sure going to have more than 12 to 15 when it comes to the variety of bosses at the end of that said dungeon. Now remember, this doesn't include the mandatory bosses that you encounter throughout the campaign, but honestly, I'm not sure why they didn't try to add those boss designs into dungeons as well. Now, I already know a ton of you in the comment section are going to say something like, well, in Diablo 2, the endgame was simply fighting Baal on repeat hundreds, if not thousands of times. Well, this might be a little bit of a newsflash, guys. This isn't Diablo 2. We're talking about a game right now that has been developed for 6 years with hundreds of millions of dollars for production in one of the biggest AAA companies in the world. Honestly, I think it'd be an incredible thing for future seasons or expansions for them to expand with some brand new features and really take some risks when it comes to integrating something brand new to the series. Right now, as we speak, it's starting to kick in for a lot of the people that don't have so much time to play that the endgame is really repetitive and just simply boring. A user over on Reddit states that he's a gamer dad and would like to apologize to all the sweaty tryhards out there because now this might be a little bit rough on the edges, so get ready, but he says that the end game sucks and he just hit level 80, he logs in to do a couple nightmare dungeons and maybe some hell tides or a world boss, and then he's bored as F. I haven't gotten an upgrade in 10 levels and my guild quit playing. Now listen, I think without features and gameplay mechanics that include 5 to 10 players at a time in a seasonal game like Diablo, where the only thing that's going to bring them back is simply a brand new season every 3 or 4 months with a couple of new features, it's going to be very lackluster in terms of endgame content if they don't try something new. Nevertheless, I'm excited to see where this game lands in about 6 to 8 months from now, and I think we all just need to remember that this is a live service game, and they're always going to be looking to improve and listen to the fans for many years to come. Now, to wrap up the news, everyone knows that there is going to be nerfs coming to a couple of classes and builds out there, and people are definitely starting to get a little worried, making statements such as, please stop nerfing things based on the 0.1% of players, and that the developers are making decisions based on the elite content creators' builds hitting for millions of DPS. They nerf these builds before the majority of us can even put a rough version together. I know they don't want people blasting through content, I'm just asking that the game be balanced according to your typical player rather than the OP pros. Now listen, hopefully the developers don't nerf these abilities too much to the point where they become unusable to the average player, because it's definitely something that a lot of the community is worried about, and we'll have to see how they take this information and run with it. Finally, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, today is the 18th. You need to make sure that you log into all of your characters that you played with in the preseason to carry over your renown progression into Season 1. It's also important to know that for hardcore characters that you need to be alive with that progression to carry over, and if your character died before today, you will sadly have to redo that progression if you didn't have another hardcore character to carry it over with. Lastly, we have a couple funny Reddit posts that we wanted to share with you all because they were just too good to pass up on. The first one is this user experience for Diablo 4's Nightmare Dungeons so far, where it's just a man out in the snow that's frozen because, listen, everybody knows that once you step into a Nightmare Dungeon, you're going to get CC chained into literal hell because there's no diminishing returns implemented into the game. Then, of course, like we showed earlier, we have our really awesome Sorcerer transmog that people are showing off on Reddit. I mean, look at that right there. Doesn't that just look Absolutely incredible. And then lastly, we have not a meme, but something that's just actually really crazy is that for Diablo 4, they have rice cups in Korea. So if you're looking for some really cool Diablo 4 merch, check out this memorabilia online and get some Korean Diablo 4 rice cups sent your way soon. But okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for the final news update right before Season 1's launch. How long are you guys going to be playing Season 1 for? 2 weeks? 4 weeks? Longer? Let us know in the comment section below. By the way, if you made it to this point in the video, go ahead and comment Season 1 hype below. I'm just curious to see how many people actually make it to the end of these videos anyways. I want to shout out once again Wonder AI for sponsoring this video and giving a big thanks to them. Don't forget to check out that link in the description below for Wonder AI app. By the way, we also want to take a moment to shout out our channel members over here on YouTube because you all are the #1 supporters of the Comeback Kids, and we absolutely could not keep this channel going without you all. The giveaway for our channel members this month of July is going to be the brand new Razer Kraken V3 HyperSense headset worth over $130. So if you all are interested in earning exclusive rewards for the Comeback Kids personally, as well as the opportunity of being offered giveaways constantly, click that join button below the video or hit that link in the description to become an official Comeback Kid today and show some support. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. It's an absolute pleasure to make content for you all. Till the very end, my name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.